I will be teaching a 17-year-old girl named Celeste how to play 2 warm-up exercises on the cello. Piaget's theory of cognitive development places Celeste into the formal operational stage. This means that she is able to manipulate abstract ideas and information in her brain. With these 2 exercises that I will be teaching, Celeste will be able to see the music and manipulate the cello to produce the right sounds that correspond to the notes on the page. Piaget also proposed a system of how we learn new information. In a new situation, learning new information, Celeste will originally be in a state of disequilibrium. She does not know immediately how to play these exercises. She will accommodate and/or assimilate this new information into her existing schemes about music and how to play the cello. Once she assimilates the information and it makes sense to her, she will be back into a state of equilibrium. There are 3 domains of learning. My goal is to utilize all 3 so that Celeste will learn this material as thoroughly as possible. First is the cognitive domain. Celeste needs to apply her mind to the subject matter. Her brain will process the information and tell her fingers what to do. She has to think about it. Second is the affective domain. What does this subject material mean to her on an emotional level? How can she play her cello with feeling and make it meaningful? Third is the psychomotor domain. This means learning physically. One very interesting thing about playing a musical instrument is that musicians are always using this domain. Celeste's right arm working the bow and her left hand working the strings will work together. This physical movement will help her brain learn and retain the new information. Another very important goal that I have, and will always have as a teacher, is to help my students learn within the zone of proximal development, or ZPD. If the level of challenge is too high, my student will experience confusion and anxiety, which will prohibit her from learning. If her competence is higher than that of the material, the student will experience boredom, which will also prohibit learning from taking place. What I need to do as a teacher is provide the right environment and proper scaffolding so that her competence and the challenge of the material meet in the middle so actual learning and growth can take place. In order to provide scaffolding, I need to know what Celeste already knows and understands about the lesson material. Is she familiar with written music? Is she comfortable reading sheet music written in bass clef? Can she play basic scales, and does she know the relationship between whole and half steps? If she does not know these things, I need to provide support and scaffolding so that she can learn this lesson material and progress with it. Alongside scaffolding, I will apply my knowledge of Bloom's taxonomy to help my students experience deep learning. At the very bottom level, Celeste will need to remember how to play her instrument. She needs to recall where to place her hands and which parts of the cello make what sound. Next, she will need to understand how the sound is produced. Then she has to apply that knowledge to get sound out of the instrument. As a 17-year-old student of several years of cello study, these 3 levels will be easy for her. My goal is to push her into the next 3 levels. To analyze, I will ask Celeste to demonstrate and explain the relationship of whole and half steps. She will analyze the warm-up exercises that I teach her. I will ask questions like, why are these warm-up exercises helpful? What do they help you accomplish? What would happen if you didn't do warm-up exercises before playing your cello? Next, as Celeste analyzes this information, she will evaluate these exercises. Then she can begin to create her own pattern, as I will demonstrate to her when she is ready. Finally, I will make sure during this lesson that Celeste is properly utilizing her sensory register. Musicians, and cellists especially, use their eyes, ears, and hands to make music. The sensory register is especially useful when it comes to the working and long-term memory. My goal in teaching this lesson is to help Celeste not only memorize these techniques using working and short-term memory, but to really understand, apply, and create them herself so they can be stored in her long-term memory for future permanent use.